The story you are about to hear is based on true events. We ask that you please be mindful and respectful to the friends and family of the victim as we discuss this sensitive topic. Our intention is to bring awareness and understanding, not to cause harm or distress. Thank you for your consideration. Ana Lubicic was born in Belgrade, within the Socialist Republic of Serbia, part of the former Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, in 1983. Growing up in the vibrant and historic city of Belgrade, she attended the prestigious 5th Belgrade Gymnasium, where she excelled academically. She later pursued higher education at the University of Belgrade, earning a bachelor's degree in French language and literature. In 2005, Ana made the significant decision to emigrate to the United States, where she eventually became a dual citizen, embracing both her Serbian roots and her new American identity. She built a career in the hospitality industry, working in esteemed establishments such as the Inn at Little Washington. It was during her time at the Wheatley Hotel in Lenox, Massachusetts, where she worked for 2 years, that Ana is believed to have met Brian Walshe. The connection between them grew, leading to their marriage in 2016, at which point she took his surname, becoming Ana Walshe. Together, they built a family, welcoming 3 sons into their lives. Ana had a tumultuous relationship with Brian, whose unstable career and legal troubles caused many issues between them. Brian was determined to become a big name among the city's top restaurateurs and often succeeded. A former friend recalls the night Brian ran up a $6,000 tab at a restaurant but couldn't pay due to credit card issues. He left a Breguet watch as collateral and returned the next day with cash, adding a $2,000 tip. On another occasion, Brian treated the friend to dinner at Charlie Trotter's in Chicago, where he splurged on a $25,000 bottle of wine. Brian had a penchant for extravagant displays, including once buying an entire inventory of truffles at a restaurant. In November 2016, Brian met with an assistant to a Los Angeles art dealer at the Four Seasons Hotel, offering 2 paintings he claimed were authentic Andy Warhols. The dealer, Ron Rivlin, had seen the artworks listed on eBay with a note saying they were being sold for $100,000 due to urgent home renovation needs. Rivlin agreed to buy the paintings for $80,000 after verifying Brian's identity. However, when the paintings arrived in Los Angeles, Rivlin realized they were fakes. The back of the canvases lacked the proper authentication, and the colors were off. Rivlin tried to contact Brian, but received no response. Eventually, Brian sent $30,000 as a partial refund, but continued to make excuses for not returning the full amount. Frustrated, Rivlin reported the fraud to the FBI. An investigation revealed that Brian had been running an art scam for years, starting with a trip to South Korea in 2011, where he obtained authentic Warhols and other artworks. He hired a forger to create copies, which he sold to unsuspecting buyers. In May 2018, the FBI raided Brian's home, leading to his indictment on wire fraud charges. If convicted, Brian faced restitution payments and possible jail time. Brian eventually pleaded guilty to the charges and was sentenced to house arrest. During this time, Ana balanced her life between their home in Massachusetts and her job in Washington, D.C., where she worked for the real estate firm Tishman Speyer, commuting weekly between the 2 cities. At the same time, Ana and Brian were going through marital difficulties. Ana was considering a permanent move to Washington, D.C., where she had recently purchased a home. Ana was known for her drive and determination to advance her career. Her friends described her as personable, hardworking, and a joy to be around.
Just so personable. She lights up a room. She's so passionate and fun and joyful. Really just someone who you want to get to know immediately. And she's so interested in everyone and everything. And just a really beautiful, wonderful, passionate, joyful woman.
As Ana looked forward to a fresh start, she set her sights on a permanent move to Washington, S.C. Embracing this new direction in her life, she knew it was time to close some chapters in Massachusetts. To facilitate this transition, she began liquidating her assets in the state. One of her first actions was to sell her Maserati, a car that held mixed memories, purchased by Brian during the turbulent months following his guilty plea to fraud charges. In addition to selling the Maserati, Ana decided it was time to let go of her beloved condo and the home where she and Brian had once built their life together. In late November of 2022, Ana took a meaningful journey back to her roots, visiting her native Serbia. The trip was a chance for her to unwind, reconnect with her heritage, and enjoy the simple pleasures of her homeland. She spent her days savoring traditional Serbian dishes, walking through familiar streets, and reflecting on the memories of her childhood that the surroundings evoked. As December rolled in, Ana returned to Cohasset, Massachusetts, to spend the holidays with her family. The festive season was a time of joy and closeness, as she and her boys gathered to decorate the Christmas tree, filling their home with warmth and light. These cherished moments were a reminder of the strength of their family bond, despite the challenges they had faced. To usher in the new year, Ana and Brian chose to host a gathering at their home, inviting mutual friends to join them in celebration. Despite the strains in their marriage, the evening was filled with laughter and camaraderie. They made a conscious effort to set aside their differences, focusing instead on the joy of the moment. Their friend Jim, who attended the event, later described it as a normal and peaceful night, a reflection of their determination to find harmony in the midst of life's ups and downs.
Good afternoon. It's Brian Walsh. I hope all is going well. I was just reaching out to basically everybody I could. Ana hasn't been in touch for a few days. Do you know anyone that might have had contact with her? Calling everyone. So sorry to bother you. Sure, everything's fine.
On January 4th, police visited Ana and Brian's home in Cohasset after Ana's workplace in Washington, D.C. reported her missing. The head of security called the police, noting that Ana had not shown up for work. According to records, Ana had been scheduled to fly from Massachusetts to Washington, D.C. on New Year's Day. The caller mentioned that he had spoken with Brian, who explained that after their friends left around 1:30 a.m., he and Ana went straight to bed. Brian claimed that Ana left their home early the next morning, around 6:30 a.m., and he hadn't seen her since. Later, when giving a timeline to the police, Brian stated that Ana left between 6:30 and 7 a.m. after kissing him goodbye. He mentioned that she usually took a ride-share or taxi to the airport. Brian said he then got up and made breakfast for their children. Since he was on house arrest, he had requested permission to leave the house between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. to drive his mother home, who had been staying with them while recovering from surgery. However, he noted that his mother recovered sooner than expected and drove herself home. Brian then left the house at 3 p.m. after a babysitter arrived to watch the children, to run errands. At 4 p.m., Brian left again to check on his mother, claiming that he left his phone at home because one of his children likely lost it around the house. He said that he got lost on the way to his mother's house as he was unfamiliar with the route. Brian also claimed to have stopped by CVS and Whole Foods to pick up items for his mother, returning home around 8 p.m. The next day, Brian reported finding his cell phone under a pillow. He didn't leave the house again until later, when he took his older son out for ice cream, leaving the younger children at home with a babysitter.
Again, thank you for coming. We're looking for the public's help and the media's help in locating Ana Walshe, W-A-L-S-H-E. She's been missing since the first of the year, early morning hours of the first of the year, and we're seeking the public's help in locating her. She was reported missing again on the 1st, and she's not been heard from. We have detectives working around the clock, Cohasset police detectives, along with detectives from the Massachusetts State Police, as well as detectives from the towns of Hingham, Hull, Norwell, and Situate. With that, I'll open it up to any questions.
Are there suspicious circumstances here that you're concerned about?
At this point, it's a missing person investigation. We're just trying to locate Ana and get her home safely.
On January 6, 2023, the Cohasset police launched a search for Ana Walshe. A family friend had claimed to see Ana getting into a rideshare on the morning of January 1st, but no evidence supported this claim. As the search for Ana continued, the current owners of the home, Ana and Brian once shared, reported that the house had caught fire. The police found this suspicious, especially given Ana's recent disappearance, and began investigating to see if there was any link between the fire and her disappearance. On January 7th, the Cohasset police started an investigation to verify the timeline Brian Walshe provided following Ana's disappearance. It quickly became evident that Brian had not been truthful. There were no records of him visiting Whole Foods or CVS on January 1st, as he had claimed. Instead, surveillance footage captured Brian at a Home Depot where he purchased $450 worth of cleaning supplies and a tarp. A review of Brian's phone records also revealed that he had traveled to 2 locations he had not mentioned to the police. With profound sadness, the Cohasset Police Department made the difficult decision to announce that they would be suspending the active search for Ana Walshe. This decision was not made lightly, as the entire community had been deeply invested in the efforts to locate Ana, holding on to the hope that she would be found safe. Unfortunately, despite extensive search efforts and thorough investigation, the leads that had initially offered some hope did not result in Ana's discovery. On January 8, 2023, a significant development occurred in the case. Brian Walshe, who had been under scrutiny due to inconsistencies in his statements, was taken into custody. He was formally charged with misleading the police during their investigation into Ana's disappearance, a serious offense that further complicated the already troubling circumstances. The charge indicated that Brian had provided false or deceptive information, potentially hindering the efforts to locate Ana. As the legal process unfolded, the welfare of the couple's children became a priority. Given the gravity of the situation and the uncertainty surrounding Ana's whereabouts, the authorities made the difficult decision to place the children into protective custody. This move was made to ensure their safety and well-being during a time of immense uncertainty and turmoil. On January 9th, Brian Walshe, Ana's husband, made his first appearance in court in connection with her disappearance. The courtroom was filled with tension as the case against him began to take shape. His appearance marked the beginning of a legal process that would seek to uncover the truth about what had happened to Ana, a truth that had so far eluded investigators and brought immeasurable grief to her family and friends.
Your Honor, the charge before the court right now, the defendant is charged under the intimidation, that being misleading the police in the course of an investigation. The investigation is into the missing person of Ana Walshe. Ana is the wife of this defendant. She's 37 years old. They have 3 children, 2, 4, and 6. Ana Walshe was last seen on New Year's Day about between 4 and 6 a.m. in the morning. The defendant indicated that she left the house to go, she works in Washington, D.C. The defendant indicated in a subsequent interview that she left the house around 6 a.m. taking an Uber or Lyft to go to the airport, where she was going to go to work in D.C. That was the last time she was seen.
An in-depth review of Brian Walshe's phone records by the Cohasset police uncovered several alarming Google searches. The searches go as follows. January 1st, 4:55 a.m., how long before a body begins to smell? 4:58 a.m., how to prevent a body from decomposing? 5:47 a.m., top 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. 6:25 a.m., how long must someone be missing to inherit? 6:34 a.m., is it possible to discard body parts? 9:29 a.m., what is the function of formaldehyde? 9:34 a.m., how long does DNA remain viable? 9:59 a.m., can partial remains be used for identification? 11:34 a.m., dismemberment and the most effective methods for body disposal. 11:44 a.m., techniques for cleaning blood from a wooden floor. 11:56 a.m., how luminol is used to detect blood. 1:08 p.m., what happens when body parts are submerged in ammonia? 1:21 p.m., should crime scene clothes be stored or washed? January 2nd, 12:45 p.m., is a hacksaw the best tool for dismemberment? 1:10 p.m. Can you be charged with murder without a body? 14 p.m. Is it possible to identify a body with broken teeth? January 3rd, 1:02 p.m. What happens to hair on a deceased body? 1:13 p.m. How does the decomposition rate of a body in a plastic bag compare to one in the open woods? 1:20 p.m. Can baking soda mask or neutralize the smell of a decomposing body? Armed with the incriminating searches and other compelling evidence, the Cohasset police moved forward with charging Brian Walshe for the murder of his wife, Ana Walshe. On January 18th, he was officially charged in court, confronted by the substantial evidence arrayed against him.
Contesting bail or probable cause, so we would ask that he be released.
Thank you, Ms. Minor, but I have to satisfy myself with probable cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Lynn B. Land for the Commonwealth. The defendant is now before the court charged with murder of his wife, Ana Walshe, as well as disentering of a body. Ana was 39 years old and the mother of 3 children, 2, 4, and 6. Ana worked in Washington, D.C., splitting her time weekdays between D.C. during the week and staying in her house in Cohasset, where she lived with the defendant and their 3 kids. On January 4th of 2023, Cohasset police received a call from her Washington, D.C. employer indicating that she was missing. She was due to report to work on January 4th, but did not appear. She had a flight on January 3rd from Logan to D.C., which she did not board. Cohasset police went to their house at Chief Justice Cushing Highway for a well-being check. It was only at this time, when they met with the defendant, that he first reported his wife missing. Defendant stated his wife left the house at approximately 6 a.m. on January 1st, New Year's Day. He stated she took an Uber or a Lyft to go to the airport, that she was returning to D.C. for work. Records were checked and there were no Uber or Lyfts to that house on January 1st. Defendant said he had not spoken to his wife since the early morning hours on New Year's Day. Cohasset police were granted permission to bing on his phone to locate her or her phone. Anna's phone indicated that it was stationary in the area of the Cohasset house on New Year's Eve until 3:14 a.m. on January 2nd. There were no outgoing calls made at that time, and at 3:14 a.m. on the 2nd, it was turned off. Defendant stated Ana should have been wearing a dress, a black jacket, hunter boots, watch, ring, as well as carrying a Prada purse. Defendant gave a timeline of 6 or 6:10 a.m. on the 1st when he last saw her. What I'd like to do now is just describe his actions in the days from January 1st. Defendant indicated on January 1st at 3 p.m. he did some errands and he went to his mother's house in Swampscott, but got lost because he didn't have his phone. He said he knew he was lost when he saw the pirate ship on Route 1. Defendant stayed 15 minutes, then went to Whole Foods and CVS. Surveillance was checked and he did not enter either of those stores. On January 1st, defendant Googled using his son's iPad. Some of his searches are as follows. Keep in mind that the defendant said he left at 6 a.m. At 4:55 a.m. on January 1st, he searched how long before a body starts to smell. At 4:58 a.m., how to stop a body from decomposing. At 5:20 a.m., he searched how to embalm a body. At 5:47 a.m., 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. At 6:25 a.m. on the 1st, how long for someone to be missing to inherit. At 6:34 a.m. on the 1st, can you throw away body parts? At 9:29 a.m., what does formaldehyde do? At 9:34 a.m. on the 1st, how long does DNA last? At 9:59 a.m., can identification be made on partial remains? At 11:34 a.m., dismemberment and the best ways to dispose of a body. At 11:44, how to clean blood from wooden floor. At 11:56 on the 1st, luminol to detect blood. At 1:08, what happens when you put body parts in ammonia? At 1:21 p.m., is it better to throw crime scene clothes away or wash them? Those were on the January 1st. There was also information gained from the defendant's phone, which showed on January 2nd he was at home Goods in Norwell, where he purchased 3 rugs. There were also more Google searches on January 2nd. At 12:45 p.m., hacksaw best tool to dismember. At 1:10 p.m., can you be charged with murder without a body? At 1:14 p.m., can you identify a body with broken teeth? On January 2nd, following those, the defendant was seen on surveillance at the Home Depot in Rockland. In checking the surveillance, the defendant is observed on a security camera pushing a cart. Items included cleaning products, mops, brushes, tape, tarp, a Tyvek suit with boot covers, buckets, goggles, baking soda, a hatchet. He had a face mask and rubber gloves on at the time he was pushing the cart in Home Depot. At 5:32, he was seen at the Derby Street in Hingham, now removing the gloves and the mask. Data from his phone also tracked his whereabouts on January 3rd. Locations were traveled at 4:27 on January 3rd to an apartment complex in Abington. Surveillance shows the defendant's Volvo, as well as a male fitting the defendant's appearance, exit a car near the dumpster. He walks to the dumpster carrying a garbage bag. He's leaning, and it appears to be heavy as he has to heft it to the dumpster. He walks to the dumpster with the garbage bag and leaves it. On 4:48, he hit another complex in Abington, and at 5:10 p.m., cell phone shows records at another apartment in Brockton. Video shows a party consistent with his appearance and his Volvo. Again, he discarded items in the dumpster. On January 3rd, that same day, at 1:02 p.m., he did some more Google searches. What happens to hair on a dead body? At 1:13 p.m., what is the rate of decomposition of a body found in a plastic bag compared to on a surface in the woods? At 1:20 p.m., can baking soda mask or make a body smell good? On January 4th, the following day, the defendant went to Home Goods and Tees. He purchased towels as well as bath mats and men's clothing. At 4:15 that day on the 4th, he went to Lowe's where he purchased squeegees and a trash can. On January 4th, when Cohasset police went to the house on the well-being check, officers observed his Volvo with seats down and a plastic liner in the back of the car. The next day, a view of the Volvo showed his seats folded down, floor mats with some dirt, and the carpet appeared to show fresh vacuum streaks. When asked about the liner, the defendant said he threw it in the trash. Chemists later analyzed the car, and there was present blood in the car. On January 5th, review of the data from defendant's phone showed his phone traveled at 8 a.m., first to his daycare and then to Swampscott, where his mother resides. The phone traveled to the complex where his mother lives at 9:30 a.m., went for about 5 minutes around the building to the southeast corner. In the southeast corner of that complex is where there was a dumpster. The dumpster was later secured and searched. On January 8th, police and crime scene services searched the house in Cohasset. They found blood in the basement, a knife with the presence of blood. The knife was damaged. A second knife was also found in that basement. In addition, there was heavy-duty large top plastic liners purchased from that Home Depot trip. As part of the investigation, police checked for activity on Ana's credit cards, banks, flights, trains. There was no activity since she was last seen on January 1st. Police also tried to track down what happened to the bags that the defendant was seen throwing in the dumpster earlier. This was over in Abington. These bags and what was in them were already picked up and taken to a location for shredding and to be incinerated. By the time police located that, they were already destroyed. However, investigators did secure and search the dumpsters from defendant's mother's complex in Swampscott. It was searched at a transfer station in Peabody. Investigators recovered 10 trash bags. Inside the trash bags, many of these items contained stains consistent with blood, in fact a lot. Among the items secured were towels, rags, slippers, tape, Tyvek suit, gloves, cleaning agents, carpets, rugs, hunter boots, Prada purse, a COVID-19 vaccine card in the name of Ana Walshe, a hacksaw, a hatchet, and some cutting shears. The purse and boots were described as what Ana was last seen in. A portion of the rug was heavily stained with red-brown stains. The substance was consistent with also having baking soda on it. There was a portion of a necklace consistent with one that Ana had been seen wearing in photos. The State Crime Lab performed testing on certain selected items that were recovered from those trash bags. There was human blood found on them, and then they were sent for DNA testing. The findings are as follows. On the slippers in the interior, Ana and Brian Walshe were contributors to the DNA on those slippers which had blood on them. On the exterior, Ana and Brian Walshe contributed to the DNA found on those slippers. The Tyvek suit. On the interior cuffs, Ana and Brian Walshe contributed to the DNA that was left on them. On the exterior left pant leg, Ana Walshe was a contributor to the DNA. On the interior right sleeve, Ana Walshe was a contributor to the DNA that was found on the Tyvek suit. There was tissues which found that Ana Walshe contributed to the DNA. There was one other earlier Google search, which would be of note. On December 27th, defendant Googled, what's the best state to divorce for a man? Rather than divorce, it is believed that Brian Walshe dismembered Ana Walshe and discarded her body. The bags were later discarded in Swampscott and contained Ana's property and the items used to clean up, as well as the DNA that was left behind. The Commonwealth is asking that the defendant be held without bail for the murder of his wife.
Thank you, Ms. Peter. Do we wish to be heard at all?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. The defendant will be held without bail pending indictment. Do we have a date for probable cause, or Ms. Dillon, have you reserved time for the grand jury?
Not at this
In March
time.
2024, Brian Walshe returned to court. He was sentenced to over 3 years in prison for the unrelated art fraud case involving the sale of 2 counterfeit Andy Warhol paintings. Walshe, who is also facing first-degree murder charges for the death of his wife, Ana Walshe, received a 37-month sentence and was ordered to pay $475,000 in restitution. The case against Brian Walshe is still pending, with the trial yet to be scheduled. Despite thorough investigations and multiple searches, no trace of Ana Walshe's body has been found. As of August 2024, her remains are still missing, leaving a haunting void in the case. While Ana's family and the community remain in a state of uncertainty and grief over her disappearance. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and clicking the notification bell for future content. Thank you, and stay safe.